Union Pengassan is embarking on a strike that shut down oil and gas operations across Nigeria. The action is against the Dangote refinery. You've talked about that quite a bit. Pengassan is accusing them of violating labor laws by dismissing hundreds of workers who opted to join the union, replacing them with foreign workers. Dangote, of course, has dismissed the allegations as patently false misinformation designed to disrupt operations. Dangote says there have been no mass sackings and insists that it's acted within the law and in accordance with labor best practices. I mean, what kind of questions does this raise for you?
No, actually, from day one, even long time ago, I was against this kind of so-called unionism that only serve the interests of the individuals within, regardless of the interests of the nation. I mean, this Pengassan is supposed to serve the interests of the country first. And you know this, their profession that has to do with petroleum products affects everything. And this is Nigeria, this is supposed to be a free country. You can't force somebody to be in the union. And if you choose to be in the union...
Yeah, but they didn't say they forced anybody.
Okay, but what I'm saying is, Dangote is a private businessman that established a refinery that is his own. And you can't come from there as petroleum senior staff or whatever they call themselves and impose anything on a private individual.
But I mean,
let me get there.
Okay.
There's a common example here. We have ASU, isn't it? You know ASU?
Yeah, that's the academic staff.
But the staff of private universities that are getting to about 100 in this country now, they are not part of ASU. It's a private. You have private hospitals all over in this country. They are not part of any union. You have a NUC. They are not part of any union. If you want to be in a union, then stay out of Dangote. That's all.
Yeah, but
let me land, because this is a very serious matter.
Yes, it is.
They are trying to hold Nigeria up. I'm not sure if the whole of Pengassan staff or whatever they call themselves. You know why I'm angry? Because anybody that is just thinking about himself and not thinking about Nigeria is my enemy, so to say.
But they would argue that they are also thinking of Nigerians, because the workers...
No, they are not thinking about Nigerians.
The workers they look after are Nigerians, and they say the issue here, the bigger issue, is of the protection of workers and what this country is prepared to do to guarantee their protection.
Please, Charles, you know that I don't know whether you're part of Pengassan yourself.
Do I look like an oil? Am I wearing a hard hat?
No,
Do I look like an oil worker to you?
The problem with the oil people, you just see them as an innocent people, but they are the people just holding the neck of Nigerians just like that. We have I think our population now is about 230 million, and then you have people that they don't own the oil, they don't own the gas, they are just the workers. So how can you be acting more than the owner of it belongs to Nigeria. The oil and gas belongs to Nigerians. You will only act in the interest of Nigerians. If Dangote said he doesn't want his workers to be in the union, so what? Then you just... How many people are in Nigeria there? Those that are willing to, play by the ball, his own. He pays the piper.
Yeah, but
he is supposed to dictate the truth.
I mean, you're a lawmaker. Aren't there laws around the rights of people to have union membership?
There is also the law. The Constitution, provides that you have the right as a Nigerian. I'll give you an example. When you set up a private university, your academic staff or non-academic or whatever, they don't join the union. That's why you see people taking their children to, if they can afford it, to private universities, because there you are guaranteed that you pay more, but your child will finish the school at the time he's supposed. ASU now is going to strike today, tomorrow. You don't know when your child will finish school. It's the same thing with the Dangote. But let me ask one question. Where were they when subsidy was removed? What did they do about it? The price went up to 1,000 until Dangote came. Where were they when the refinery stopped working and they were virtually doing nothing and were depending on imported products for Nigerians? And you see queues. And this Dangote was, I think, bidded for NNPC refinery in Kaduna and Warri, a group of them Nigerians. The same Pengassan, what you call them, sabotaged that one. And then Dangote just moved aside because he's patriotic enough, invested his own money, over 20 billion, into it, and then some guys will come and tell him how to run the place. That's nonsense.
Right. Well, this is not the main topic of our discussion. So
okay,
let's round it off. Let me just round it off by asking you this. The federal government's waded in as a sort of middle-of-the-road person, middle person. What do you think is likely to be the upshot of all of this?
The best thing is for the president, if I'm in him, is to sign an executive order calling them off.
How do you mean calling them off?
Yeah, no Pengassan.
You mean dissolving them?
Yes. Well, he has the right. He has the big stake. He should.
Well, I doubt if he will do that.
Abacha did that one time.
Well, Abacha was a military dictator.
No, but
we presume that your APC president, I mean, the president in your APC is less of a dictator than Abacha was.
Okay, but in this case, I don't mind if he can be a dictator, because certain situation deserves very drastic. I mean, I get angry. If I were
but I agree with you to the extent
because
that,
look at it.
that
Just
the president has the right to take action in defense of the country.
The price of premium, this thing was 830 just day for yesterday, but today it went up. It went up to 900 or so. Who's going to suffer?
Well, they argue, Pengassan says there's enough fuel supply in reserve to last at least 30 days.
Do they have any fuel?
To last at least 30 days, and there won't be any disruption.
Do they have any fuel?
Anyway, we'll watch and see what happens.
Nigerians are already out there.
Right.
If I know how to find them, we will protest against them. I will lead.
Well, let's turn to the main reason for this interview, corruption in Nigeria.
That's part of what Pengassan is doing. They are just a corrupt institution milking on the Nigerians, and they even now holding Nigerians by the neck.
Well, beyond Pengassan, I mean, corruption is not just at the top levels. As you yourself have pointed out recently, it is pervasive throughout the population and culture, and has been that way for decades without a pause. How big a stink do you think swirls around the issue of corruption in Nigeria?
Charles, this issue of corruption, as you know, you are a Nigerian too, and almost all of us, or everybody, even those that are involved, are becoming worried. Because if you are a thief, no, not you as a person, but if someone is used to stealing and he's not sure of securing the stolen good, then it becomes a problem. So even when you steal and you keep it somewhere and somebody feels comfortable to steal what you have stolen, then there's a big problem. If we don't address the issue of corruption, as there is this saying that if you don't kill corruption, then corruption will kill you. I
think the issue you raised, which was what piqued my interest, is that you were asking why Nigerians glorify corruption and celebrate those who succeed in it.
It is because, first of all, like, I'm a politician and people are expecting much from me, so they try to compare me with others that have questionable source of wealth and expect me to do the same because
so you don't have questionable wealth.
Well, I cannot I cannot evaluate myself.
Well, I mean, you know what are in your accounts. You know where you get your money from.
I don't think you will believe me when I tell you what is in my account. And let me take a simple bet. Give me all in your account and let me give you mine.
I like that. I might actually agree to that.
No, agree to it now, and we have witnesses here. I swear to God, let's sign on it.
Right.
So I know myself, but I'm not saying that everybody has his own way of thinking of. But in this country, you know, Charles, unexplained wealth is being celebrated.
True.
Questionable wealth is being celebrated.
True.
That affects our total resources. In Nigeria, people that steal publicly, you know that this is somebody who is, let me give an example of us in the National Assembly, or some of us, they come here, they don't even have a good car to ride, they don't have a house, but within the short period, we know our income is known, even with the ones that you guys are shouting that is too much. Like in senators, everybody knows that the cost of running the senator's office is about 20 million, but his salary, or my salary, as at last month when I saw, was 750,000 naira. But you see somebody spending at a go maybe 100 million naira or at an occasion, and people will just say, oh, in our own in the church, you go to the church, you get the front seat, and the pastor will say, God has blessed so, Jesus has done so. And then when you go to the mosque, you are in the first queue, even though it's not supposed to be like that. He will come late, or sometimes even the imam will wait for him, just because he has unexplained wealth.
But is there a paradox in the fact that most Nigerians you speak to will tell you they hate corruption?
No, I don't think so.
And yet they're complicit in the same act that they condemn. I mean, I don't know if you read the article by this guy called Mohammed Abdul Salam on the subject. Brilliant article, but he does a very good job of pointing out the nexus between culture and corruption in Nigeria. He writes for Primer Africa.
Okay, but let me first of all say that, next tomorrow will be 65. Nigeria itself. I'm older than Nigeria with 1 year. I will be 66 in November. When we're growing up, we knew that especially politically exposed people are subject of scrutiny in the eye of the public. The famous Sardauna Ahmadu Bello was jailed on a suspicion as related to revenue of the government, and so many others. I know of my people who went to prison because they cannot account for the common jangali, what do you call it, local taxes. But today, you see, most of us, the politically exposed people, have virtually corruption has been legitimized, and people don't even think about it. They sleep with their two eyes closed or even celebrate it. Even when some of them, when they go out, they are declared as criminals and jailed, and when they come back home, they are celebrated.
But why doesn't that kind of thing ever raise the hackles of the people in the National Assembly who represent the Nigerian people? I mean, corruption is something that is plaguing this country on virtually every level. It's in the schools, it's in the markets, it's in the hospitals, it's in the ministries, it's everywhere. I mean, and the National Assembly is there to represent the interests of the people. Why is it? Is it because they themselves are allegedly active participants in that process?
I'm not here to defend the National Assembly or to even blame it, you understand? But the fight against corruption is supposed to be a collective responsibility. In fact, it's supposed to start from the executive down to judiciary and then the corrupt anti-corruption agencies. We have the ICPC, we have the EFCC, we have the DSS, we have even the police, or even the judiciary itself. And let me admit that we have very nice guys that can do their job heading these institutions, especially this time, because I personally know the chairman of EFCC. I also know the chairman of ICPC, and I know that of DSS too. These are guys, and the institution can be useful to start addressing this matter. Not the type they are doing now, by just media trial and all that. No, this is supposed to be covert operation, and that's why I say once, like in Britain, they have what they call UWO, unexplained wealth order. They will just go and obtain an order from the court, and then what you have that is above your normal income will be confiscated until you prove ownership or the source. That's been done there.
Yes, I think that's a good point.
Yeah, in the US, what they do is they confiscate first. And then if you think that it belongs to you, then you go and prove it. But in Nigeria, it's not the case, because our law has a lacuna, and that is the biggest problem. In other criminal offenses, you are presumed guilty until there is a proof beyond reasonable doubt. You understand? But reverse is supposed to be the case.
Well, you mentioned the people who run the anti-graft agencies. I mean, you talked about the EFCC chairman and so on. It's interesting that they themselves, who are supposed to be fighting graft, are often hounded out of office. I mean, with allegations of corruption trailing them. I mean, virtually every one of them. I mean, their tenures ended with some form of controversy involving allegations of impropriety, and even in some cases they were arrested and detained. I mean, so if the allegations are to be believed, at least some, if not all of them, become allegedly the criminals they're supposed to be going after.
Yeah, because that is normal characteristics or this thing of corruption. When you're dealing, it's everywhere. Even in the, it's like they're dealing with criminals, mostly like politically exposed persons. Then you are talking about drug dealers. In some cases, you are dealing about criminal businessmen. They will go out of their way, or they will go too far to implicate or bribe you or come around. So it's not easy. But as I said, the cream of head of anti-corruption agencies we have now, given the right instrument, they will be able to do
right. But is there pressure on people like yourself in positions of influence to be corrupt? Because Nigerian society, I mean, you've said this before, encourages very high expectations of you if you're in a prominent position. So for instance, if you don't give contracts or positions to your people, they'll say you're a fool and that you're selfish. So the more you share your piece of the national cake with your people and your friends and your cronies, the less it is considered corruption by them, and they'll come to your defense.
You're right. In most cases, as I said, corrupt people are tried. So I think few in Nigeria were tried outside, and when some of them are even jailed, but when they come back home, they are being celebrated.
That is true.
The opposite is the case.
Good evidence of that.
Yeah, the opposite is the case if it is outside, because of the shame associated with that. Some even commit suicide.
Yeah, and you're virtually
and then some of the countries are completely intolerant. Just day before yesterday, a minister in China, Zhang, or what is his name, was sentenced to death.
A whole bunch of people were also sentenced.
And the senator,
today, actually.
Senator Mendes,
or yesterday,
was alleged to have collected bribe from Egyptian government. He's now serving, I think, 5 years imprisonment, including his wife, because he was given.
But you don't push for these things. I mean,
how can I push something?
The lawmakers.
No,
why don't you push for this to become law?
To be fair to us in the National Assembly, we established ICPC, we established the law, we established EFCC, and then we gave the DSS powers. And I'm a legislator now asking the president or the government to sponsor an executive bill on unexplained wealth. So it's not like, because this corruption at the end of it doesn't help anyone. Because if you steal 1 million today, and then you share it, and then maybe you keep just part of it. Next time, more people will be coming, urging you to steal more.
But that's pretty much what is happening, isn't it?
Yeah, and it will go. No, thieves are being celebrated. There are some of our colleagues that, because of the position they are occupying or the influence they have, they dip their hands or they connive with.
When you say even your colleagues at the National Assembly.
Yeah. Because some of them cannot explain their wealth anyway, and that is what.
But nobody asks them anyway, so they don't have to explain it.
No, I don't think so. As I said, number one, these are people that constantly cycle around the powers to be.
So they feel protected.
They feel protected, and then some of them even pay protection fee. You know what I mean with that? And it's
you mean like the mafia?
Yes, right? When they steal, the money, or then they also
to keep the rabble rousers quiet.
Quiet.
Well, you're a rabble rouser. Do they try to keep you quiet?
No, I don't think so. It's only when, it's only when you have something to hide that you fear.
So they avoid you because they know they might come to you and you go on the television.
No, it's not like that. So many people used to go on television, but they can't find anything against them. For me, as I said, I wish if this thing would be adopted, and I should be the first one to be called.
Well, I'm glad you're bringing this to public attention, because that is the way that you have been. You've always been a kind of forerunner. I was wondering when you were going to come up with a new word for this kind of behavior, because, I mean, you've drawn our attention to words like kleptocrats, kakistocrats, etc., and I expect you to come up with corruptocrats.
No.
or contractocrats, which is a government...
No, but you forget one thing. There are a lot of plutocrats in the system, too.
Yes, that is true.
But you don't blame the plutocrats because they are going in there to make... to profit from the government. And let me also say that I just don't create those words. Kakistocrats.
No, I know. It is in the dictionary.
It's in the dictionary.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is that you draw attention to
as I said, on a serious note, Nigeria has to do something about corruption. And I repeat that if we don't kill corruption, then corruption will kill all of us.
But what about the prevalent notion that if you are a politician, it doesn't matter what shade of politics you pursue, never criticize the ruling APC, which is your party. Instead, join the party and you'll be fine because all your EFCC problems will disappear. Is that a fact?
No, I don't think so. But I can say that whether deliberately or by default, some people will be in the system and no eyebrow is raised about allegations or accusations that has to do, but certainly when they have a brush with the government, then they try to come after him. At one time, I think, as I was following my own case, I discovered that they have to find something to talk about it. And at one time, it has gone off now, but it was on social media, online, this thing, that I am one of the richest senators. In fact, the 10th one with over $500 million. And
you said, no, I'm only worth $100 million.
No, I said, if I have $1 million, I will be with you in London.
With whom?
With you. You will get me an apartment or I'll buy a house. I'm telling you.
Yeah.
So for me, if we are really going to find corruption, it should start by me being investigated to explain.
And you're happy to be investigated?
I would be. Because I'm politically exposed person.
Yeah.
They should check my bank accounts or what I have in the bank and call me in to explain how I got that balance. That is, if there's any balance anyway.